Hey guys, how's it going? In today's video, I have a new microphone to try out, and this is the A8 Ampligame from Fifine. And I'm going to do the usual by showing what comes in the box, how to set it up, and also how to set it up with a boom arm. And pretty much this whole video is going to be a sound test as well, so if you like what you hear, I'll leave a link down below. So I guess let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is go over what comes in the box. The first thing we have is the instructions. So here is the microphone, and it pretty much comes set up right out of the box. As you can see, it's already connected to its stock stand, and the pop filter is already connected to it. Right here we have the USB cable, and it is a USB Type-C to USB Type-A, and it measures about 6.5 feet long. And the last thing we have in the box is this adapter to pretty much connect it to a boom arm. And this will work with boom arms that have a 3/8 end and a 5/8 end. This little middle piece can be removed to pretty much expand it to the 5/8 option. Okay, so before we go over the features of the microphone, I just wanted to show how to set it up, since it's actually very easy since most of it was already put together inside the box. So the only thing you have to do is actually take the USB cable, plug it into your computer, and then take the USB Type-C end and plug it into the bottom of the microphone, and you're pretty much done. So this microphone will work with both Mac and PC computers, and it will also work with most gaming consoles other than Xbox. I really haven't got a good answer why it will not work with Xbox. If you know, leave it down in the comments. Okay, so now we're going to go over some of the features of this microphone, and the first thing we're going to touch on is the actual build quality. It looks like most of this microphone is made from plastic, other than the pop filter in the front, which is a wire mesh. And then it looks like there's some metal on the bottom of the stock stand to pretty much give it some weight. Okay, so this microphone has a corduroy puller pattern, which means it's going to work best if you're talking directly into the front of the microphone. If you're off to the side or even behind it, it is not going to work as well. This microphone has a tap the mute button on the top of the microphone, and it also has an LED indicator, pretty much if it's muted or if it's unmuted. If it's muted, it will be red, and if it's unmuted, it will be green. There is a wing nut on the back of the shock mount, which if you turn that, you can adjust the tilt to whatever is comfortable for you. On the bottom of the microphone, it has a USB Type-C port and also has a 3.5mm headphone jack for voice monitoring. On the back of the microphone, there is a gain control knob, so if you need more or less, you just turn that depending. I kind of wish it was on the front of the microphone because it would make it a lot easier than reaching behind it to turn it. And the last thing we're going to go over on the microphone is the RGB select button, and that is also on the back of the microphone, and there are plenty of different options to choose from. There are 7 static solid colors, a dynamic multicolor gradient, and a dynamic solid color gradient. So if you don't want to use RGB, all you got to do is hold the button in the back for 5 seconds and it will turn off. So now I'm going to show you how to install the microphone onto the boom arm. But first, for my situation, I actually have to turn the microphone pretty much in the shock mount so it's facing the right direction. So it's actually a little tricky. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is pop off this little pop filter. And then all I really have to do is undo each one of these little rubber bands that hold the microphone into the shock mount. It gets a little tricky. My fingers are a little too big and they kind of get stuck. So eventually I'll have this done. Okay, so this usually takes me a couple minutes to do, but afterwards, there's only one thing to keep in mind. You just want to make sure the microphone is actually facing the right way. And an easy way to indicate that is the gain control knob on the back of the microphone should be facing towards the back, and if it's not, if it's facing towards you, you installed it backwards. Okay, so now we're going to remove the shock mount from the stock base, and it's actually pretty simple. All you got to do is just undo this little wing nut here. And you just turn it, and then eventually it just should fall right out. This little nut and bolt can be also used with the adapter as well. They're pretty much the same concept. They just pretty much screw right into each other, so if you lose one, you have an extra. Okay, so now I'm going to take the little adapter and I'm going to remove the wing nut and the little bolt from the side. And then I'm going to remove the little 3/8 thread end because I do not need that since my boom arm connection rod is 5/8. So that kind of just turns right out. If you have any difficulty, they do have little groove marks. You can take a flathead to it and it should just twist off. And now I'm just going to install it onto the connection rod. Okay, so now I'm going to install the shock mount onto the adapter, but first I'm actually going to turn the adapter to its side. This is just going to make it a little easier to pretty much send the bolt down into it, just to line it up properly. And after I send the bolt down, all I really got to do is take the little wing nut and slide it up through the bottom and tighten it down, and that's it. Now, since I have the mic installed onto the boom arm, I can take the pop filter and put it back onto the shock mount. So now I'm going to take the USB cable and I'm going to take the USB Type-C side and kind of slide it through the little bottom portion of this boom arm, just to try to make it look a little nicer. And then I am going to drape the cord over the top of the boom arm, and then I'm going to plug the microphone in, and then the only thing left to do is install all these cable ties. And finally, the last thing I gotta do is actually just plug in the USB into my computer, and we are done. So I'm actually very impressed by this microphone. I went back and checked a couple clips just to see what it sounded like, and it actually sounds very clear. So I'm actually very surprised by that. It actually sounds as good as my Quadcast does, and my Quadcast is about double the price of this thing. So if you're actually interested in buying one of these, I will leave a link down below. They usually run for around $50, so it's actually not that bad for a budget-friendly build if you're going to go that way. And if you're actually interested in the boom arm I'm using, it is also from Fifine. It's their BM63. I will leave a link for that down below as well. So that's going to be it for today's video, and I hope you enjoyed. And also don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And that's going to be it, so I'll see you all in the next one.